Alright, so, a powerful storm system is set to impact the United States this weekend, bringing the return of significant severe weather threats, including damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes. At the same time, a large ridge is building along the west coast, which will bring much warmer weather across much of the country. This combination of an intensifying storm system and a strengthening ridge will create a volatile weather pattern over the next several days. In today's forecast, we're going to break down everything you need to know about how this system is going to evolve, where the worst of the weather is expected, and what you should be prepared for as we move into an increasingly active period of severe weather. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. Right now, across the eastern part of the country, we're still dealing with the effects of a large trough that has been lingering over the region. This system is finally beginning to move offshore, but not before delivering another round of showers and thunderstorms, particularly in parts of Florida. Some of these storms could reach severe limits as we move into the early afternoon, though the overall risk remains on the lower end. Still, any storms that do develop could bring gusty winds, heavy downpours, and even the possibility of an isolated tornado. The good news is that by tomorrow, this system will be out of the picture, allowing for some improvement in conditions across the southeast. Meanwhile, back toward the west, we have some moisture moving across the Great Plains today, which could lead to a few isolated strong to severe thunderstorms. This moisture is being transported from the Pacific Northwest, where a weak disturbance is pushing eastward. However, for the most part, the western U.S. remains under the influence of a strong high-pressure system, which is keeping conditions warm and dry from California to the Rocky Mountains. This high-pressure system will continue to dominate the weather pattern in the west over the next couple of days, but it won't last for long. As we move into Wednesday and Thursday, this ridge of high pressure will begin to shift eastward, setting the stage for a much more active weather pattern across the central and eastern United States. The shift in the weather pattern is going to be significant, and to understand why, we need to take a closer look at the jet stream. Right now, we have a high-pressure system firmly in place along the west coast, which is keeping things warm and dry. Meanwhile, a low-pressure system is sitting over the Great Lakes, and the jet stream is positioned far to the north. This setup is allowing warm air to surge northward, leading to above-average temperatures for much of the country. However, by Wednesday and Thursday, that high-pressure system is going to move into the Great Plains, bringing even warmer and drier conditions. But beneath this ridge, a cutoff trough is going to form, and that's where things start to get interesting. This cutoff trough is expected to develop across the southern plains on Thursday and Friday, bringing scattered showers and thunderstorms to parts of Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. Some of these storms could produce locally heavy rainfall, and with plenty of moisture streaming in from the Gulf of Mexico, there is a risk of localized flooding. This moisture is also going to play a key role in what happens later in the weekend, as it will provide fuel for a much larger and more intense storm system. By Friday and Saturday, this low-pressure system will continue tracking along the Gulf Coast, bringing more showers and storms to the region. However, the real concern comes later in the weekend when a powerful upper-level trough begins to move across the Rockies. This storm system is expected to intensify rapidly as it moves into the Great Plains late Saturday into Sunday. When this happens, we could be looking at a widespread and potentially significant severe weather event, with a broad area of severe storms developing from the central United States all the way to the East Coast. The Storm Prediction Center has already highlighted a large portion of the country under a risk for severe weather on Sunday, covering parts of the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, and the Deep South. To put this into perspective, the area currently outlined in the Day 6 outlook spans nearly 400,000 square miles, making it one of the largest early severe weather outlooks ever issued. This does not necessarily mean that a full-scale severe weather outbreak is guaranteed, but it does indicate that confidence is high in a widespread severe weather event. All hazards will be on the table, including damaging straight-line winds, large hail, and tornadoes. The setup for Sunday is particularly concerning due to the presence of a strengthening low-level jet, which will help to increase wind shear and create an environment highly favorable for tornado development. As we move through Sunday afternoon and into the evening, storms are expected to become more organized and could produce multiple tornadoes, some of which may be strong. The highest threat area currently includes portions of the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, and the Mississippi River Valley, but this could shift as new data comes in. By Monday, the severe weather threat will move further east, with the potential for strong to severe storms from Virginia and Delaware back into Georgia and northern Florida. While the risk may not be quite as high as Sunday's event, damaging winds, hail, and a few tornadoes will still be possible. If you watched our previous updates, you might recall that there was initially a severe weather risk outlined for Saturday in the central and southern plains. However, it now appears that a strong cap will be in place over the region, which will likely suppress storm development. A cap is essentially a layer of warm air above the surface that prevents clouds from growing into thunderstorms. Because of this, the severe weather threat for Saturday is now looking much more conditional, meaning storms may struggle to form at all. One of the key ingredients for severe weather this weekend is going to be the amount of instability in the atmosphere. Even as early as Thursday and Friday, we will see instability increasing over Texas, which could lead to the development of strong thunderstorms. However, the main focus for instability will be on Sunday when warm, moist air surges northward into the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley. This unstable air mass, combined with strong wind shear and forcing from the approaching trough, will set the stage for a significant severe weather event. Instability levels will be high enough to support a broad area of severe thunderstorms, stretching from southern Michigan all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Now, there's been a slight shift in the storm outlook, with the risk zone shrinking in some areas, but I do think it'll expand again, especially closer to the Gulf Coast. We're also now seeing the threat extend into Monday, with a 15% severe risk already being highlighted for that day. And on top of that, some models are even hinting at additional storm activity along the Gulf and Southeast as we move into Tuesday, which could also carry a 15% risk for severe weather. While we're focused on the severe storms, don't forget that this system is also bringing winter weather concerns. However, instead of heavy snowfall, we're looking at a warm setup that could result in more freezing rain, particularly in northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, and parts of the Upper Peninsula. Let's go over the main areas at risk and the expected impacts. For today, the severe weather risk is mainly limited to wind and hail. There's no real tornado threat at this time. If you're in any of the cities listed on the map, just stay aware of changing conditions. Tomorrow, we still have a marginal risk for severe weather, again with wind and hail as the main threats. The areas affected are listed on the screen. By Thursday, as that trough and associated warm front push through, we see the severe threat shifting to the north-central U.S. and Midwest, with hail remaining the primary concern. Meanwhile, down in southern Texas, we have storms that could bring hail and gusty winds as well. On Friday, the lifting mechanism for the storm starts shifting northward, bringing precipitation into the colder regions, leading to a mix of rain, freezing rain, and snow. The south-central U.S. remains capped at this point, meaning storm development there is unlikely, while the northern states will see a wintry mix developing. Northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, and northern Michigan will see accumulating freezing rain, with lighter amounts extending into parts of the northeast. As we move into Saturday and beyond, that freezing rain threat continues, though snowfall totals remain relatively low overall. What we're really watching for is the severe weather setup from Saturday night into Sunday. Storms will start forming along the Gulf Coast, expanding into Louisiana, Missouri, and points eastward. The low-pressure system forming off the mountains will provide the necessary ingredients for supercell development, meaning we could see hail, damaging winds, and even tornadoes as the system moves through the mid and lower Mississippi Valley. By Monday, severe storms will continue across the south and southeast, potentially extending into Tuesday as well. Watching the latest lightning strike data, we can already see evidence of strong storm activity developing in Missouri, Iowa, and Illinois, as well as down in Texas. This suggests that some areas could see isolated large hail events. Heavy rainfall will also be a concern, with parts of Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi facing the potential for flash flooding. Starting on Wednesday, a marginal flood risk exists for parts of Texas, which then expands into Louisiana by Friday and continues into parts of Mississippi and Alabama by Saturday. So, that's the latest update on this broad and unusual storm system. Hopefully, this breakdown helps you get a better idea of what's coming. If you found this information useful, consider hitting that like button, it really helps out a lot. And if you have a moment, share this video with anyone who might be traveling in these affected areas. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again.